Hello friends, welcome to the Point. In this session, we are discussing about cooperative federalism, which is also called as federal system. Political scientists, they have classified governments into unitary and federal on the basis of the nature of the relation between the union government and the state governments or the regional governments. A unitary government is the one which has all the powers that is vested in the national government, and the regional government, it derives their authority from their national government. And the federal government, on the other hand, is one which powers are divided between national government and the regional governments, or let's say it as a state governments, by the constitution itself, and both operate in their respective jurisdictions independently. In the federal model, the national government is known as federal government or the central government, or it also called as a union government, and the regional government is known as the state government or the provincial government. Let's compare the features of the federal and unitary government. Federal government, it has a dual government, that is national government and the regional government. Federal government is written constitution, and federal government is said to have a rigid constitution, and division of powers between the national and the regional government. Let's say it as central government and state government. Federal government will have supremacy of the constitution. Federal government is said to be independent in judiciary, and it has a bicameral legislature like Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha in India, which is the upper house and the lower house. Unitary government, it is said to be a single government, that is only national government exists and which creates a regional governments. Unitary government, its constitution may be written or unwritten, written constitution like France and unwritten constitution like Britain. Unitary constitution, it is said to be rigid and flexible like India. No division of powers in unitary. All the powers are vested only in the national government. Unitary government, it may or may not be supreme. In the same way, it may be independent or may not be independent. It may have a bicameral legislature or it may not have. Like legislature may be bicameral like in Britain and unicameral like in China. Federal features of the constitution. Dual polity. India follows the dual polity system, that is a double government which is federal in nature, that consists of central authority at the center and states at the periphery level. The Indian Constitution, it provides for an independent judiciary which is headed by the Supreme Court. Written Constitution. A written constitution is a formal document which defines the nature of constitutional settlement, the rules that govern the political systems and the rights of the citizens and the governments in a codified form. Division of powers or separation of powers. The separation of powers, it is a representation for the governance of a state. Under this model, the state governments is divided into several branches and each with separate independent powers and responsibilities, so that the power of one branch are not conflict with the other branches. Supremacy of the Constitution. Supremacy of the Constitution, it is a doctrine where the Constitution is the supreme law of land and all the state organs including Parliament and the state legislature are bound to it. They owe their existence and powers to the Constitution, and therefore their every action must have its support in the Constitution. Rigid Constitution. Rigid Constitution as a constitution which stands above the other laws of the country, while flexible constitution it do not stand above the other laws of the country. And a rigid constitution it requires a special majority for the amendment procedures of the parliament and also an approval from half of the state legislatures. Independent judiciary. The constitution establishes an independent judiciary that is headed by the Supreme Court for two purposes. One, to protect the supremacy of the constitution by exercising the power of judicial review, and two, to settle down the disputes between the states and the center or between any of the states. Bicameralism. The constitution provides for bicameral legislature consisting of upper house, that is Rajya Sabha, and a lower house, that is the Lok Sabha. The Rajya Sabha it represents the states of Indian Federation and the Lok Sabha it represents the people of India as a whole. The Rajya Sabha is required to maintain the federal equilibrium by protecting the interest of the states against undue interference of the center. Unitary features of the Constitution. Above the federal features, the Indian Constitution also possesses some of the unitary or non-federal features. They are the strong center. The division of powers is in favor of the center and it is highly inequitable from the federal angle. The union list contains more subjects than the state list, and secondly, more important subjects are included in the union list, and the center it has overriding authority of the concurrent list, and finally all the residuary powers have also been left with the center. That is why the constitution has made a strong center. States not indestructible. The states in India, they don't have any right to territorial integrity. The parliament, by the unilateral action, it can change the areas, boundaries or name of any state, but it requires a simple majority to it. And hence, the Indian Federation is said to be indestructible union of a destructible states. Single constitution. Usually in a federation, the states have the right to frame their own constitution separate from that of the center. In India, no such power is given to the states. And the Constitution of India, it embodies not only the constitution of the center but also to the states. Both center and the states must operate within a single frame. Flexibility of the constitution. The process of constitutional amendment it is less rigid than that is found in other federations. The bulk of the constitution it can be amended by the unilateral action of the parliament either by simple majority or by a special majority. No equality of state representation. The states are given representation in Rajya Sabha on basis of the population. Hence, the members in the Rajya Sabha they vary from 1 to 31 in a particular state. Emergency provisions. The Constitution it stipulates three types of emergencies: national emergency, state emergency, and financial emergency. During an emergency, the central government becomes powerful and the states go into a total control of the center. Single citizenship. Even though we have a dual polity, the Constitution of India, like that of Canada, it adopted the system of single citizenship. There is only Indian citizenship and no separate citizenship called state citizenship. All citizens irrespective of their state in which they are born or reside, they enjoy the same rights all over the country. Integrated judiciary. The Constitution, it has established an integrated judicial system with the Supreme Court at the top and state high courts below it. And this single system of the court, it enforces both the central laws as well as the state laws. All India services. In India, the center and the states have their separate public services. But in addition, there are all India services like IAS, IPS, IFS, IRS, etc., which are common in both center and the states. The member of these services, they are recruited and trained by the center, which also possesses ultimate control over them. Thus, these services, they violate the principle of federalism under the Constitution. Integrated audit machinery. The Comptroller and Auditor General of India audits the accounts of not only central government but also of the state governments. CAG's appointment, that is Comptroller and Auditor General's appointment and removal, it is done by the President without consulting the states. And hence, we can say that this office, it restricts the financial autonomy of the states. Parliament's authority over state list. Even in the limited sphere of authority which is allotted to them, the states do not have exclusive control. The Parliament is empowered to legislate on any subject of the state list if Rajya Sabha passes a resolution in the effect of national interest. This means that the legislative competence of the Parliament, it can be extended without amending the Constitution. Appointment of Governor. The Governor, who is head of the state, is appointed by the President and he holds his office during the pleasure of the President. The Governor, he also acts as an agent of the center. Through him, the center exercises control over the states. Integrated election machinery. The Election Commission, it conducts elections not only to the central legislature but also to the state legislatures. This body is constituted by the President and the states have no say in this matter. Veto over the state bills. The Governor is empowered to reserve certain types of bills that is passed by the state legislature and for the consideration of the President. The President, he can withhold his assent to such bills not only in the first instance but also for the second time also. Thus, the President enjoys an absolute veto over the state bills. See you in the next session with some other interesting topic. Thank you.